Good evening and welcome to another edition of Ross Racing, this time brought to you by The Rock, Rockingham Dragway, also known as RockinghamDragway.com. I am Matt Harrelson, alongside with me for the ride, as usual, Russell Parker, and we have a special guest analyst on Ross Racing tonight over the phone. We're being joined by Joseph Lombard with Lombard Brothers Gaming from all the way out in California tonight. How you doing, Joseph?
I'm doing good, guys. How about you?
Excellent. So, Joseph is best known as N2SC4R on YouTube and Twitch, which focuses primarily on NASCAR and racing video games. So, Joseph, how are things in California, especially since you guys have NASCAR coming to town?
Well, first off, we've been getting a lot of cold weather in California. It's nice that the weather's finally warming up and stop getting some rain around here. But no, just preparing for the AutoClub weekend out in California. Just had a very busy day today, just preparing for that, just getting stuff done and ready to go. But so far, everything's been going well over here.
Well, I can tell you, I think North Carolina's gotten enough rain for the entire country over the last few months. But getting away from weather. So you've been a sponsor for Ryan Sieg Racing in the Xfinity Series in the 39 car for a few races in 2018 and was on the hood of the car for ISM and Las Vegas this year. So first question for you. How has sponsorship in NASCAR worked out for Lombard Brothers Gaming? And likewise, how has it helped Ryan Sieg?
Oh, well, first off, it's just been an amazing experience. As a matter of fact, literally 1 year ago today was the announcement when we first was going to be a sponsor, so it's very fitting to do this interview today. But no, ever since, it's just been an incredible ride and just an amazing experience to work with a race team like Ryan Sieg Racing. Just a very good people, very generous, and you couldn't ask to work with a better team like Ryan Sieg Racing. But yeah, we worked with them for a few races last year, and we're very pleased to work with them again this year, including the entire West Coast swing this past few weeks. So it's been really good. They started out strong this year, with 3 top 10s, 1 top 5. So far, so good with them. And hopefully for another good result at AutoClub Speedway this weekend. But it's just, the publicity that it has gotten, it's just been unbelievable. And I just did not expect how big this was going to be, not just for our Lombard Brothers Gaming and Ryan Sieg wise, but just how much publicity it's getting on social media and all the support we've been getting this past year. So, it's just an honor to work with Ryan Sieg Racing again this year, and hopefully this year won't be the only year that we work with them. Hopefully we can work with them for years to come.
Well, I got to say, we are striving to get on your level where one day, hopefully, we can have our names on sponsorship for a car as well. So, but let's head back in time here for just a moment. NASCAR went dueling in the desert this past weekend at ISM Raceway out in the desert of Phoenix, Arizona for the Ticket Guardian 500. Now, it was Kyle Busch who bowed to the crowd for his 52nd Monster Energy Cup Series victory. Now, the race started out strong for Ryan Blaney, but in the end, it was the Candyman himself who took the lead late in the race from the 12 car, and it was over from there. So, Russell, I'm going to start with you. What did Kyle Busch do this week to put him in victory lane?
Yeah, I think it was a lot to do with just he's been strong week in and week out, especially since we've been out there on the West Coast. He's kind of been up there, and he could have won that race at Las Vegas last week. It went for his pit stop penalty. So I think Kyle Busch is just on the up and up, and he's finally hit that mark where he's going to start winning some races now. And obviously he got it done at ISM. And it was actually my pick last week. I figured he'd be a dark horse in this one here. But yeah, I was really impressed with how he was able to work his way up through the field most of the day, and then finally take over Ryan Blaney, who was pretty much the best driver all day.
All right, so Joseph, let's kick it back to you. So speaking of Blaney, he was first in 2 of the 3 practice sessions. He then got the pole, ran solid all day long. He was without a doubt the driver to beat on Sunday. But what was it that kept the Team Penske driver out of the winner's circle?
I think, Kyle Busch was just the fastest car all race long. But no, Ryan Blaney had a pretty strong car as well this past Sunday. And, he shows some consistent lap times throughout the race. But I just feel, if you got Kyle Busch in your mirror, there was no way you were going to beat him, regardless of who it was. So Ryan Blaney, had a strong car and felt like he could have had the car to win. But I just don't feel like his car was that good in the long run. It seemed like he did complain that it was getting tight in the long run, and I think that's what made the difference from him going to victory lane and not. But Kyle Busch, he was just flawless all weekend long with that race car. Whether it was a short run or a long run, he had a good car overall. So it was going to be hard to beat Kyle Busch this weekend. And Ryan Blaney, he did a good job holding him off for a little while, but it was just not quite enough. But I could tell you, Ryan Blaney will find himself in victory lane sometime this season. If he can run like that consistently throughout the season, I guarantee you maybe we'll see him in victory lane shortly.
Well, you must have been reading my mind because, as we know, Kyle Busch got it done on Sunday. But as you just mentioned, he also got it done on Saturday in the Xfinity Series. Now, it wasn't easy for him, as it has been in the past. Christopher Bell, who we've talked about for the last year at least, showed a lot of promise in this race, was ultimately the car to beat. Unfortunately, Bell got caught up in a late race incident that threw his day away, and after that, it was Rowdy's race to win. So with the weekend sweep, Busch was able to secure his 199th victory across NASCAR's top 3 series. Now, last week we discussed if it was a fair comparison to Richard Petty's 200 wins, but Joseph, I want to get your take on it.
Well, I know for sure, regardless whether when Kyle Busch does get his 200th win, it's just going to be a remarkable memory. It's just going to be a remarkable history statistic right there. I mean, that is just an unbelievable stat to have to get 200 wins in all 3 levels of NASCAR series. Yeah, granted, it is. I wouldn't not necessarily compare it to Richard Petty's 200 wins since this is a different era. It's way harder to win races now these days. But regardless whether it's 200 Cup wins or 50 plus Cup wins or like I said, 200 NASCAR wins in all 3 series. That is just a remarkable stat right there, and that will definitely go down the history books. Probably would never see again from any other driver. We don't know. I'm not saying it is impossible, but I would say at least for a very long time, will definitely never happen again. Kyle Busch is one of the greatest drivers in this era today. There's no arguing that. Whether you love him or hate him, you got to respect his driving abilities and how he races. He is such a wheelman. He knows how to drive the race cars. He knows how to park that thing in victory lane if he has a good car to do it. So, yes, it is not. I would not compare it to a Richard Petty 200 wins, in my opinion, because that is a totally different history there. But still, 200 wins in the NASCAR, all 3 NASCAR series regardless, is a pretty good stat, and I think it would definitely be great history for sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to interrupt you, Russell, but I think we can all 3 agree that it's not so much a matter of if, but when,
Yeah, and I think among active drivers, I believe he or Jimmy Johnson are kind of right neck and neck with one another on most wins among active drivers. So to say that, and he's younger than Jimmy Johnson, to say that does speak volumes as far as the Cup Series is concerned.
If you guys don't mind, let me go off script real quick, and either one of you can answer this. But Busch, Hall of Famer already or no? What do you think?
I think no doubt.
Yeah? What do you think, Joseph?
Oh, there is no question that he is a Hall of Famer already. I mean, 33 years old, and he has 199 wins, about to go to his 200. This guy is not done winning races. I feel, honestly, he can get up to 250, or maybe, if he keeps up this pace, maybe even up to 300 if he decides to stay racing in the Xfinity Truck Series. But, I mean, the what he's done in his career is just remarkable, and just an unbelievable stat that I would never thought we ever see in NASCAR. But we're definitely witnessing history, and it could possibly happen this weekend, whether it's the Xfinity or a Cup Series race at AutoClub Speedway. You cannot count him out at all. If he has a good car, and now that he's got the win out of the way at Phoenix, you better watch out for him for the rest of the season because I feel he's going to be tough to beat this year.
Yeah, 300 overall wins. That's a really big
Yeah.
number. But as far as, Russell, you and I both agree, comparing it to the Kings, not necessarily a fair comparison. But after the victory on Sunday, Kyle stated that his goal was to win specifically 100 Cup races. So, Joseph, let me start with you on this. Do you think with being at 52 wins currently that Kyle will make it to 100?
You know what? I was thinking about that on Monday after he got the win on Sunday. That's to me. I don't know. I'm kind of in between. I would not be surprised if he's one of those drivers that could get up to 100 wins. He's still got a long career. He's still very young, 33 years old. And he's got a long history left to go, a long career left to go in NASCAR. And as long as he stays in NASCAR for another 20 or something years, it would not surprise me to see him get up to 100 wins if he keeps up the pace as is. And, of course, he's with Joe Gibbs Racing, running for a very good team with good equipment. I can definitely like I said, I don't know. It's kind of hard to dispute that if he's going to get up to 100 Cup wins, but if he does, the pace he's going right now with grabbing all these wins, it would not surprise me one bit. So I think it will be a cool history right there as itself too, but we will just have to see from years to come.
So 20 more years would be a really, really long career. But what do you think, Russell? What's his shot at 100?
I mean, with at least 10 more years under his belt, I think he averages probably about 6 to 8 wins a season. If you go off of last season and a couple of years before that, I think he has the potential to make it. If anything, he'd be maybe 1 or 2 races short of that. Kyle Busch just knows how to get the car in the victory lane, and he showed that time and time again. He feeds off the haters, I think, and I think this drives him even more. So as long as he has haters, he's going to continue to win.
I like how Joseph put it. He knows how to park it in victory lane. That was really good. So 4 races in now, and the 2019 season has seen 4 different winners, but only 2 different teams go to victory lane. So that's Joe Gibbs Racing at Daytona and ISM, and Team Penske, who got their wins at Atlanta and Las Vegas, respectively. So, Russell, do we continue to see these 2 teams dominate throughout the season, back and forth with wins?
It's still early in the season, 4 races in. I'm not sure if you're going to see that hand off to any other teams right now. I think Penske and Gibbs I'm not going to say they 100% know the rules package at this point, but they have probably the better understanding than everyone else. Daytona could have gone either way for any team out there. But so just looking at those other 3 races, I think Penske, with having Ryan Blaney run as well he did at ISM, and then Martin Truex Jr. has finally started to find his groove. He could have won Atlanta. He finished second at ISM. I think that looking forward, you're going to see a lot of between those 5 cars out there. I'm not sure about Eric Jones. I don't know where he's kind of been lately. Denny Hamlin's been running well as well. I think all those drivers right now are hitting all their marks pretty good, and you're going to see them probably dominate maybe the first half of the season.
All right, so Joseph, let me send it back to you. Do you think that we'll see teams such as Hendrick and Stewart-Haas get back in gear and find some of their guys in victory lane this year?
Oh, no question about that. I mean, right now, the teams to beat right now is Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske. They've been the strongest team so far in the first 4 races. But I agree with Russell. There's a long season left to go. We're only 4 races in. And I will eventually say, you still got Stewart-Haas racing like Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer. Obviously, Harvick ran really well at Las Vegas. Clint Boyer ran really well at ISM Raceway. Then, of course, you got Eric Almirola ran well this past weekend, and of course you got Daniel Suarez in there. But I feel, yes, right now we're seeing Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske be the dominant teams right now, but don't count out Stewart-Haas Racing, especially when you got Kevin Harvick on their team. That is definitely a strong team as well. They're a Ford as well, like Team Penske. And, Hendrick Motorsports, they're off to a little bit of a slow start, but that was the same thing with 2018. It was a slow start for them, but they picked it up throughout the second half of the season. So I feel we can definitely see Hendrick Motorsport pick up the pace, but I feel Stewart-Haas Racing will pick up the pace first more than Hendrick Motorsports. But yes, I agree. Right now, Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske, I feel is going to be the team to beat. Of course, 4 races in, I'm not going to say they're going to be the dominant team all year long yet, but for what we're seeing right now, I watch out for those 2 teams already.
All right. Well, speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, let's move over to our penalty report with Chase Elliott at the start of the race. So the 9 car was hit with a pass-through penalty for jumping the start of the race over pole sitter Ryan Blaney. Now, the rule in question states that the pole sitter cannot be passed prior to crossing the starting line. So, Russell, do you think this was just a rookie mistake on Elliott? Or perhaps Blaney just didn't hit all of his marks coming up to the green flag?
Oh, this is actually not the first time I've seen this happen at ISM. It happened, I don't think last year, I think it was the year before that, when Alex Bowman had the pole. And I believe it was Brad Keselowski who jumped it, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. But I think it's kind of a common occurrence here at ISM. But I think it was just kind of a rookie mistake for Chase Elliott. Starting on the front row, he's not always up there at the front row. And being in second place, there are some rules to that. It's not the same as a restart. At the same time, I guess you could have looked at that maybe Ryan Blaney didn't get going like he's supposed to, and Chase Elliott felt that he, because of Ryan Blaney's mistakes, that Elliott was okay to do what he did. But yeah, I think it was just rookie mistake on Chase Elliott's part, and he'll learn from it and move on from there.
All right, Joseph, back to you. Chase Elliott finished 14th in the race. With being hit with such a penalty so early, does this hurt the driver's chance of winning?
Oh, absolutely not. You know what? Chase Elliott, he hasn't really made a mistake until ISM Raceway this weekend. Obviously, he was caught up in a wreck at Daytona, but that can happen there. But now, I know Chase Elliott is capable of winning races this year. Yes, again, off to a slow start for him and Hendrick Motorsports, but we saw him have a slow start last year in the first half, and then second half he picked it up with 3 wins and made it into the round 8. But this on Sunday, I agree with NASCAR on the penalty. Now, it did look like maybe Ryan Blaney did take off just a little bit ahead of Chase Elliott, then maybe Ryan Blaney fell back. Maybe he did spin the tires. We don't know that. We never got a good view of that. But a rule is a rule. You cannot beat the pole sitter to the line in the initial start of the race. So as a Chase Elliott fan myself, I agree with the penalty. Maybe Chase Elliott could have NASCAR allows them to give the spot back before being black flag, but Chase thought, you know what, Ryan Blaney spun the tires, it's okay. He did nothing wrong, but, NASCAR made the call. That rule is a rule. And then, of course, Chase Elliott later on had a vibration on one of the tires, and ultimately had his car spun out coming off the last corner. So it was a tough day at ISM Raceway, but I will hurt his chances for the rest of the season.
All right, so moving on over to our newest segment, drivers who are in the groove. So Russell, Joseph, I want you to pick a driver out of the top 10 in both the Cup and Xfinity Series this weekend that impressed you the most. Joseph, we'll start with you. Who's in the groove?
You know what? Again, Xfinity Series-wise, I say Christopher Bell. He's a very strong driver. He would definitely. I know he dominated this weekend at ISM Raceway, and unfortunately, he had that incident with a live car blowing an engine, and that was just a shame for him. But I felt he could have gone to victory lane. But we would definitely see him in victory lane shortly. And in the Cup Series, I'm gonna honestly say Eric Almirola. He's been strong recently at ISM Raceway, and of course, been strong recently with Stewart-Haas Racing. I feel we can see Eric Almirola snag a win and get to victory lane sometime in the coming races. He's been strong, but we'll just have to see there.
All right, Bell, obviously a solid pick. Almirola, perhaps a little outside of the box, but what about you, Russell? Who's in the groove?
For the Xfinity Series, I was really impressed with how Ryan Truex came up from, he started ninth, but he came up and got second place out of race. Not usually a name you see running up front and finishing behind Kyle Busch like he did. I know it was a couple of seconds back still, but regardless, if Kyle Busch wasn't in the race, Ryan Truex would have won it. So I think Ryan Truex had a very impressive race day. And for the Cup Series, I was having a hard time picking between Jimmy Johnson, Eric Almirola, and Kyle Larson. But I thought Kyle Larson was the one that stood out to me. He started 31st in this race, so pretty much almost next to last, if you will. And it was how I finished Chevrolet in the race. So Ganassi starting off really well with Kyle Larson and Kurt Busch as well. Both drivers of those got up in the top 10. So really good day for Kyle Larson.
All right, so that is who is in the groove for Joseph and Russell. So 2 races down in the West Coast swing, 1 to go. Joseph, NASCAR is coming to your state of California. The Cup and Xfinity Series are going to be stopping off in Fontana at AutoClub Speedway. Now, the Cup race will be this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox and MRN. Joseph, we'll start with you since this is one of your home tracks. What do you see coming up for the AutoClub 400?
Oh, well, first off, with the new aero package, I feel this race is going to be a real good test to see how this aero package is going to be. They did testing a couple months ago, and I was there for it. And, of course, only with 3 cars out there, but I thought it looked promising. You know, Auto Club is such a very wide racetrack, and the straightaways are so long. I feel we are going to see one of the greatest races this season with, you know, some 5 wide, just all lanes being used and stuff, and the draft is so good there at Auto Club Speedway. This aero package I would say, is going to provide a better racing than what we saw at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The restarts are going to be crazy. I think these fans are in for a good show this Sunday. And you know what? I would pick a winner, but to be honest with you, I don't know how this race is going to play out. We could even see a surprise winner up there in the field. It is probably hard to pick a winner for this weekend because of this package. So, in my eyes, I'm just hoping for a very amazing race, and hopefully fans will get their money's worth this Sunday.
All right, Russell, what do you see happening out in Cali?
Well, since Joseph already hit on all about the rules package, I'm going to talk about Goodyear. You know, they're actually presenting a new tire for this race, I believe on the right front or on the right side of the tire. I'm not sure what they actually changed up to it, but I know there's been trouble with tires at Fontana before in the past. So I'm curious to see what Goodyear does with it coming up, and I think hopefully we'll see some good tire wear on this track as we have in the past. I love that about Auto Club Speedway, that you can see a lot of tire wear in it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the restarts, especially on this race, because if they're anything like we've seen, Las Vegas had a pretty good restart at one point, and I really enjoyed how they went 4 or 5 wide. I'm hoping we'll see a lot more of that at Auto Club. I think you'll see that at Auto Club in Michigan later on in the year. There's a similar track, so I'm thinking that you're going to see a lot more fanned out cars in this race.
Talking tire wear. Best analysis here on Ross Racing. So, guys, now before we make picks for the winners, we're going to play a little game, everybody's favorite game, called Checkers or Wreckers. And I'll give you a statement. If you agree with it, you'll say Checkers. If you disagree with it, you'll say Wreckers. Who's starting here?
I'll let Joseph go first.
All right, Joseph.
All right.
Number 1, Checkers or Wreckers. If you're going to fight a fellow driver, you should take your helmet off.
Yes, Checkers.
All right.
I am going to say Wreckers. I want to protect my head, you know.
All right.
Of course, that was alluding to Daniel Suarez and Michael McDowell's fight on pit road during qualifying.
Okay. I'm just gonna say I'm keeping on as much equipment as I can. It's kind of like Joseph, if you've ever watched us, I'm a big baseball fan. I always seem to bring whatever Russell says back to baseball. And the catcher always has what we call the tools of ignorance, and that means all of his equipment. And you never want to get in a fight with him because he's the most protected. I'm right there with you. Keep the helmet on. Number 2, Checkers or Wreckers. Kurt Busch will find victory lane in 2019 for the 1 car for the first time since 2013.
Checkers.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely Checkers. He's been running really well all season, starting off with, and been finding ways to make top 10s out of every race. He's doing very good.
All right. Russell, let's switch it. I'm going to start with you this time, Russell, since we're talking about our hometown track here. Rockingham Speedway could be receiving $8 million after North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper proposed his 2019 to 2021 budget plan. Checkers or Wreckers?
Checkers for sure. I am so excited about this. I mean, this is going to be huge for our area and for Rockingham Speedway, and of course the Dragway is going to get some of that money as well. So overall, I think it shows that but Roy Cooper believes in what the owners are wanting to do with the track. And I think, with Epicenter coming up in a couple of months from now, actually, and of course Oktoberfest now moving up to the Speedway in October, so much is happening out there with that track, and to see people believing in it, wanting to invest in it, and make an economic impact around here is something special, and it's going to be amazing when it gets back going.
So, Joseph, obviously I'm going to kick the same question to you, but to delve into this just a little bit more specifically, Some of the things that this $8 million could perhaps go to would be a proposed footbridge from the dragway to the speedway, also repaving, redoing the bathrooms, concession stands, that sort of thing. So Speedway getting $8 million here. Checkers or wreckers?
Checkers. You know what? I love Rockingham Speedway. I hate to see not even any racing there anymore. But hopefully, maybe in the future, as long as they can rearrange this track, fix it all up, you're ready to go. I mean, I like what they're planning to do right now for the entertainment-wise, but I would love, hopefully, sometime in the next few years, if they were able to not only repave that track, but maybe actually see some racing there again. If Rockingham could get back on the NASCAR schedule, I think it'll be a big hit, not just for obviously the Rockingham area, North Carolina area, but for the entire NASCAR community too, just to see an old school track. And who knows, maybe if NASCAR looks at Rockingham, let's say get back on the schedule, maybe I would love to see some of the old NASCAR tracks they used to run and get back on the schedule as well. So I definitely say Checkers for sure.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that would like to see a renaissance of some of the older tracks like you're mentioning. All right, Joseph, let's start with you again. Number 4 here. Hailie Deegan, a.k.a. the Dirt Princess, will be the first female to win in one of NASCAR's top 3 national series. Checkers or wreckers?
Checkers. I mean, what we've seen in the K&N series already with her 2 wins, and of course, ultimately her past win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. She's got the talent. She's got the skill. She's probably going to be one of the best female drivers we have ever seen in NASCAR. I definitely see success for her. And now that she recently is getting 6 races for the ARCA series, I know that's not considered NASCAR yet, but in my mind, I feel we can see Hailie Deegan be the first female to get a win in any of the top 3 series. So checkers there. Yeah,
you have to start somewhere. Plus, I just like saying Dirt Princess. What do you think, Russell? Checkers or wreckers?
I'm going to say checkers. I know she's probably going to take a couple of years before she actually gets to a truck series. I know she'll be eligible coming up soon, being of age to race on the plate tracks. But I think we're going to see a lot out of her in like ARCA. I know she wants to win championships wherever she goes to before she moves up to another series. So I think she's got the tools to do that. I think she's got a great backing with other people involved as well. And she's just really, really good, not only on dirt, but on asphalt as well. She knows how to get done both types. And I think she's going to be a threat to a lot of drivers in the future.
And finally, Joseph, we're going to start with you on the 5th and final question because you are out on the West Coast. Sonoma Raceway should be moved up to be part of the West Coast swing as the second race of the season. Checkers or wreckers?
Oh, checkers there. I think that would be amazing. I mean, the Sonoma is so green in the springtime. It looks beautiful up there. Of course, when it's in the summer, in the end of June, it's usually hot up there. It's dried up. But I would love to see Sonoma Raceway be part of the West Coast swing, whether it's the first race, one of the middle races, or the last race of the West Coast swing. I think it would be very interesting to have all the West Coast races all in 4 weeks, all at once. So I say checkers for Sonoma. I love that racetrack. I love going up there. Very beautiful. One of my favorite racetracks to ever go to. So I would love to see it be moved up the schedule, not just for West Coast wise, maybe for weather-wise too, because it does get steamy up there. So checkers there.
All right.
I'm going to say checkers. I think the West Coast swing has been one of the best things that NASCAR has done as far as getting every time you go out there to the West Coast, those crowds are huge for those tracks. Las Vegas sold, I don't know if they sold out, but they had a big enough crowd. ISM had a good crowd. I'm expecting AutoClub to have a good crowd as well. I think having them as like a regional, I think if you sell it as a regional thing, you're going to have fans getting involved, and the drivers can stay out there for a longer period of time, and that gets them involved with the local area a lot more. And you've seen the banners go up, everybody's looking at what's going on here. If it's just one race out there, it's going to be there for a week and you're gone, and it's like nothing really big happens. So if you get all 4 of them out there for 4 weeks in a row, that's a month of racing in the West Coast. I think that'll be something big there.
Absolutely. And weather, like he mentioned, big factor there. So that's going to do it for checkers or wreckers. Now, let's begin a brand spanking new segment called The Rock Block, of course, brought to you by The Rock, Rockingham Dragway, and RockinghamDragway.com. So each week we're going to be bringing you all the events that are going on at The Rock. This weekend on Saturday will be the MXA Street Drags and Test and Tune. You can, of course, view the basic rules on RockinghamDragway.com. Gates will open at 10 a.m. and run until sunset, which now now with the time change
That's a
is
lot more
late.
time, yeah.
That's a lot of racing on Saturday, and then not to be outdone, the next day, March 17th on St. Patty's Day. Sunday will be the SEVWA, the VWs at the Rock. Now, I'm a huge Volkswagen fan. I'm really excited about this, but
Oh, yeah.
they're going to have the all VW car show, drag racing, a swap meet. All models, air and water cooled, are welcome. There will also be camping available at the track. The available hours will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Spectator admission is only $15, and 12 and under gets in free.
Now, that's a good deal right there.
Absolutely. So from now until literally Christmas, folks, something will be going on at the Dragway every weekend. So that is for the Rock Block this week, brought to you by RockinghamDragway.com. So, all right, guys, we've crossed the finish line. Who are your picks to win the Auto Club 400?
Joseph, I'll let you go first.
All right, Joseph.
Well, I tell you, I would say either Kyle Busch or Martin Truex Jr. or Kyle Larson to go to victory lane this Sunday. But with this new package, it is so unknown what's going to happen this Sunday. I feel Auto Club will provide, like I said, a better race than what Las Vegas provided with the new aero package. I feel this race is definitely going to be put up to the test. But if I happen to pick an easy choice, I would say Kyle Busch is also going to win the Xfinity race, in my opinion. I think he's going to go for another sweep this weekend at Auto Club Speedway.
Wow. All right.
I'm going to go with Busch, but not Kyle. I'm going to go with Kurt Busch on this one. I think that he's going to get it done here this weekend. He showed a lot of improvement over the season, and I think with, like Joseph said, it's going to be kind of a wild card deal here with you don't really know who's going to win. It could be a surprise winner. I think Kurt Busch will be that surprise winner with that one car.
All right. So according to you guys, it could be a Busch dynasty this upcoming weekend in Cali. All right, guys. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, we really appreciate Joseph Lombard with Lombard Brothers Gaming from joining us all the way out in California. Once again, you can find him under the name N2SC4R on YouTube and Twitch. Joseph, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure. My second time being on here, and would love to come back on the show again really soon.
Absolutely. Anytime, you are more than welcome. So, in the meantime, Russell Parker, I'm Matt Harrelson. We'll see you right back here on the track next week for another edition of Ross Racing, brought to you by The Rock, Rockingham Dragway, and RockinghamDragway.com. Have a great week.